Hello and welcome to another edition of The One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great because it is Victory Monday.
It really is. And we're recording a very special episode here on Labor Day. So just mostly because I got to get a nice 4 a.m. Departure to head to BWI to head to Dallas this week. So
Mm-hmm.
for a coaching convention. So, but we wanted to bring you guys a show. We had a wonderful night
We did.
in Chester. Yeah, it was a really fun atmosphere overall. You were down in the River End.
I was.
I was up in the press box. So we're gonna share our thoughts, views of the game, and just kind of have some fun as we always do. So but before we get started, what are you wearing today?
Well, I am wearing the Kick Childhood Cancer top that they wore yesterday. And this came out for sale, I think 2 Thursdays ago. I had teacher in service, as I recall. And as soon as that came out on um, on all the various social media outlets, I was like, well, take my money now. I'm buying that. Pretty much immediately bought that. So,
Yeah, this is a much better warm-up kit, in my opinion, than the Captain America Shield
oh my
one.
gosh, 100 times better.
But I mean, the All-Star jerseys, they had some of those. They were nice, but this is by
Yeah.
far probably their best work to date.
It
Which
doesn't hurt that it is in Union colors.
that too.
That I think made it look even better. The guys look great wearing them last night. And so it has Kick Childhood Cancer on the front with the Union crest. And it has the Hulk on. Like you can't really see it unless I stand up, but it does have like images of some of the Avengers on it, and the Hulk is like a really obvious one to see. So
Now on the back it has the Beambo and brand
right.
right on like the shoulder blade area. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's a really nice. And the other thing, if you guys go and look, it's kind of like the our kit this year. Like no two kits are the same for the most part. I think they did like a couple different ones. Now I know like the replicas of these kind of all have the same, but I did see a couple last night when I was
Oh
looking
really?
that did have different things. So I think it's just a kind of just mix and match. So
Yeah, and what are
it's
you wearing?
and I'm wearing the Beat the Bulls, which we did last night,
Yeah.
t-shirt that they were giving out at the Sons of Ben tailgate, as
Yeah.
part of which we'll talk about here in a bit.
Yeah.
So it was cool. They were throwing out some t-shirts. They were
So
beating the bull, but we'll
yeah.
talk about that here in a bit. But let's go ahead and get started with today's show. As always, make sure to subscribe and follow and interact with us. We'd love to hear from you. And we are on Twitter at TOTWAG, and on Facebook and Instagram at The One Team We Agree On. And we are on Apple, Google, and Spotify podcasts, as well as what you're watching on YouTube if you're watching. So leave a comment. Again, we have been growing.
Mhm.
I don't really like to talk about too much because
I
that we don't do
I find
this.
that a little corny if I
Well,
start talking
yeah,
about
but it's
that.
been exciting to
It
see
has.
the podcast grow, as
Yeah.
with a lot of the other content creators around the community. So it's great to see we're getting more and more eyes on the Philadelphia Union,
Yeah.
and
So
that's exciting.
absolutely. I mean, this is just kind of a passion project for us. We we are fans, as you guys know. And I'm not like some, big time media person or something. I don't know, I just do this because I love the union, and Kyle does too. And
Yes,
giving the fan perspective. Kyle actually has the media background. He has the communications background.
yeah, and I do enjoy it. I love it. We had a great time up in press box last night, just
Hmm.
getting to talk and interact and share stories. It was a wonderful time. But let's go ahead and get started and talk about the tailgate. It was packed. We were there, what, like quarter four, and it was already a
Yeah.
really big group.
Yeah. Yeah. We got there at quarter to four. And normally when we get there, because the tailgate didn't start till like 3:30. Normally when you get there early, it's not that busy yet, but I was surprised how busy it was, which was a great sign. And I know a lot of people were, well, I saw the union had posted on their social media outlets about the Beat the Bull thing, and I
Mhm.
think that probably attracted more people to come to the Sons of Ben tailgate maybe for the first time. I definitely know there were some people there for the first time because I talked to them, and it was great though. Just an awesome atmosphere, and definitely by like an hour later, the place was packed. So that was great. It was a great atmosphere.
It was, good energy, saw a lot of familiar faces, but
Mhm.
also I kept looking around, there was a lot of people, and I said this to Mike Barrera, that there were a lot of people there that I've never seen here before, so
Yeah,
maybe it's because of the Red Bull rivalry, I'm pretty sure it probably is.
doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt, but yeah, it was cool, and then they had the bull kinda, like, hoisted up, for the, Beat the Bull, event, and, it was a little hot, and like we always said that, uh, when they paved that lot,
Oh, yeah, that was gonna
that
be
he
hot.
but it was a good time,
Yeah, and definitely, it was cool to see some new faces at the tailgate and some that I know personally, but,
yeah, let's talk about that.
shout out to, some of my students and their families that came to the Sons of Ben tailgate. Some of them were having their first union game in person, so that was awesome, but, it's honestly great to see the number of fans growing from our area, from the Lancaster area.
Mhm.
And I know there's going to be more and more. I mean, we're trying hard to get a watch party spot going. So if you are from the Lancaster area, definitely keep your ears open about that because I know well, our friend Conrad, he was trying to get something going at PJ Willihan's. Apparently they will show the game at PJ's in Lancaster. So but yeah, it'd be really nice to have like some dedicated spots for that.
It really would, and hopefully in another year or 2, that's something that can become a standard thing,
Mhm.
um, but, let's talk about the Bang the Bull, so that was an interesting event,
Yeah, so we burned the bull before. That was like
yeah,
2 years ago. So they had a big like paper mache um Red Bull pinata. And I mean that thing was huge. So they let you sign up to come bang the bull. And it was filled with rolled up t-shirts like the one Kyle's wearing. And shout out to the guy that was also in a Unity top next to me that was trying hard to get them to throw one to me. And they did. So thank you to him. I didn't catch his name, but thank you to that guy. And so I got that shirt and it looks great.
it was cool to see all the kids and even some of the adults, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
was funny because they started out with, like, that little,
Like a really thin
then
no, it was a thin kind of stick, it looked like a baton almost.
yeah,
It was not very sturdy, so that thing got they went through, like, 2 of those,
and
and
then
they were broken pretty quickly, and then they went to more of a thin pole, and that eventually got broken, and they went to a baseball bat, and then the real damage started happening, but there were little kids getting to beat it, there was adults, it was great, and of course, everyone was cheering, and when it really started getting beaten open, all t-shirts start falling out,
yep.
that was pretty exciting, but it was so much fun. I thought that was a
It
great way to kick it off.
it was, and again, shout out to Mike Barrera, he got to do
He
it,
was one of the first ones,
yeah,
yeah.
he was, he was all excited, I was talking to him, he was all excited, got in line. Also shout out to the guy that I'm pretty sure probably played baseball at some
Oh,
point,
yeah.
this guy, and when they got the bat, the guy came up and he was all locked in, and he just started pounding on this
Oh,
thing and
yeah.
destroyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody knocked the head off of the bull early on.
Yeah.
It was controlled chaos, but it was a lot of fun, and
Mhm.
that's what makes the rivalry games like this fun. You see this in college football and in other sports too, and I like when the Philadelphia Union do this stuff ahead of big time games. It
Right.
makes it a lot more fun. Gets people that might not necessarily be Sons of Ben members, they might
Mhm.
just be fans for the first time showing up and saying, "Hey, what's this all about?"
Yeah.
So it kind of, makes things fun, grows the brand, grows the fan base, and
Mhm.
that's a win-win. Do you want to show some of the merchandise that we had gotten at the tailgate?
Yeah.
The Sons of Ben, they were doing a very special kind of shirt merch based off the video game Doom. Now, if you don't know the video game Doom, when I was a kid, that was an awesome first-person shooter. But they made this awesome sticker, which I posted on our account. And it's just the dupe with the bridge in the background.
It looks great.
It looks great. I'm probably gonna put this on my car.
Oh, really? It's gonna get all messed up on your car.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Well,
And then what I really was excited for was the dupe shirt. Basically,
it has basically what's in the sticker, the dupe with the bridge in the lettering, and then with the red, is that their
you have
Red Bulls?
Yep, you have the Red Bulls coming, and then you have Ben Franklin kind of fighting them off, or Sons of Ben person. Kind of looks like Ben Franklin's. I don't know.
I like the added touch of all the dead
Dead
skeletons of bulls at the bottom of that.
So
this is great.
So for those of you who don't know, maybe aren't sure what this was a fan created, I believe somebody had said that one of the support people had created it. But what is interesting is this is actually the original design is actually a spin-off of the original poster and box art for Doom.
I wouldn't know that because I don't.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that. So basically, instead of he's shooting and you got all these demons coming at him. So they kind of did. That's what I really like. It's kind of a homage to an iconic game. So that was really cool. So then
they had a good march in. I'll be honest, I wasn't able to join in the march this time.
No, we decided to go in early.
We went in pretty early. As many of you know, the union had a collaboration with Live Breathe Football.
Yep.
And that was started by a guy, he goes by Ebun on the social medias and stuff. But what a collection of stuff. Now, people would have seen Jim wearing the shirt that I purchased yesterday. The navy blue t-shirt has Philadelphia Union Live Breathe Football on the front with the Gadsden snake. The well, that's not the Gadsden snake, that's the other one, the Don't Tread on Me one, but with the cut up snake. And that is the front. The back is
the back's my favorite.
I love the back. So it's the same design that is on also the light blue sweatshirt that everyone saw Jim wearing on Wednesday at Toronto, and the sweatshirt that promptly sold out as soon as it was available. These things came available on Saturday, was it? And they were available on the Live Breathe Football site as well as the MLS store, and they also had them in the Union shop yesterday. So that's why we kind of wanted to get in there early and see what they had before it inevitably got sold out, probably. So the stuff sold out online really quick. There was a really nice jacket too, which we saw. So it's rainproof jacket too, which I thought with all the rainy games we've had, that would be nice. It is pretty sharp, and we can post some pictures then if you haven't seen them. But I had thought about getting the jacket, but I kind of wanted to see it in person first and see what the fit was like. So I would have bought it online, but I'm hoping that it comes back into the stores soon so I can get that. I really like the light blue sweatshirt that Jim was wearing. I could have gotten one in the team store yesterday, but they were $109. And even with the season ticket member discount, I was like, nah, I'd rather get it online. I did hear you can get it elsewhere too, like at Dick's.
Yeah.
So I might get that eventually, but I really like the jacket. I plan to get it. And I know some people did get it, so I can't wait to see it on people as well. So shout out Paul and me. Yes, you made a good purchase on that. So there was some hats as well.
Yeah,
that were part of that, and there was another t-shirt as well. They had the light blue version of the t-shirt I just showed as well.
No, I really like the hats. I thought the hats, especially the
and I'm not a hat person.
Yeah, the light blue one with like little gold trim, and then the dark, midnight blue, whatever they call it, bill, really nice. And then the just dark blue, just I think it just says Union on front. I really like that one. I'm probably gonna end up getting that. They also had those chains that you see
Oh, the
NFL.
big chains with
Yeah,
the
you see that. I
logo
mean,
thing.
they're fun for the kids and
Yeah.
fans and accessorizing. I mean,
That's
I
not my jam,
it's not mine
but
either.
for those that like that stuff, that's fun.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I want a dolphin one. I have somewhere sitting upstairs, but
Did you get one in Vegas or something? Because
n
they always have those things in
no,
Vegas.
one of the content creators for the Miami Dolphins was giving out a raffle for a celebration show, and he had one,
Oh,
and I won it. So,
nice.
not my thing, but, it's hanging somewhere upstairs. And, but yeah, no, I really like it. I love the story, um, of the guy that created those
Mhm.
because, I mean, he's a Philly guy.
Yes,
And he created a shirt, I believe back in 2011, he posted that. He created a Union shirt back in the day,
there
and
was a design contest.
yeah, or something like that, he won it. Billy told us the story, and it's just really cool, and then his company grew, and he started working with other MLS teams, he did a couple things, and he just designs
Mhm,
lots of soccer stuff, and so to see a guy from Philly now
mhm.
having success like this, and now the Union getting on it, and I believe he commented too that, other MLS teams now have reached out to him, so he's gonna create more. That's awesome to see.
Yeah, so good for him, and I thought the designs are quality. They look great.
I was checking out Team Store, a lot of the merchandise there is just, oh, chef's kiss. I mean, he does a phenomenal job. So
Indeed.
whether we're all Union fans here, if you're listening, but if you have a favorite, maybe English Premier team or European team, there's other stuff out there depending on the clubs.
Mhm.
So that was good, but, I wanted to ask you, since I went up to the press box and you went into the river end. So, pregame, and, show the, before we get started, show the, rally towel.
Yeah, so they were giving out rally towels at the gates. So that was great. They have the rivalry night. I guess is it a rivalry, Kyle, if we beat them every time?
I
But
mean,
yes.
I have my thoughts on it, but
Yes. So this is the rally towel they were giving out. We have rivalry night, bring the energy, and Philadelphia. And yes, it's signed by Jacob Glessness at the bottom there.
so so yeah, that was a nice towel, and, you got an extra one, maybe to give one of your students possibly.
I have a few extras.
So,
Yes.
anyway, so let's talk about, the pregame energy, because from the press box, I was kinda going back talking to people. But when that stadium started filling in, it was really, really loud. And so how
Yeah.
was it in River End for you?
Okay. So before the game even kicked off, I did notice that the stadium was pretty full because sometimes
Mhm.
people take their good old time getting their seats. But no, it was filled up pretty quickly. There were people chanting over in 137, next section over, well before. Just simple things too about, people getting their beers and stuff. I mean, people were excited. And then we had, of course, the tifo looked great, and we had a lot of people with these foam cutout Red Bull heads, dead bulls, if you will, because they all had their eyes X'd out. So that was pretty funny, and that was awesome. So yeah, people were pretty revved up. I will say this though, early in the game before we really got going and after when we got scored and everything, I thought we could have been a little louder because of course the Red Bull section, which wasn't very big, their way supporter section, there wasn't tons. We have way more when we traveled to them. But they were, to their credit, they were pretty loud in the beginning, and they actually, they're allowed to have their drum and everything. So
Mhm.
they were pretty loud, and I know Conrad had messaged me during game, said that he was over like 127 and that he could barely hear the river end. So
Interesting.
now, of course, the Red Bulls, they were in between all that. So
Right.
that might have been drowning it. But I did look around and I saw at times a lot of people just kind of standing and not chanting. But us in 136, definitely between Jane and me, we were trying to really get people going too. So there, once we scored, it definitely got
Oh,
rowdy
yeah,
again. We
yeah.
kind of woke up again, but I do think that when we got scored on, it also kind of deflated us a little bit. But we got it going again and it got much louder. And then once we scored, it was game on and we had some really good chants going. We did have the sha-la-la-la chant between the sections going at one point,
Mhm.
and it didn't really get a chance to grow because we had game events happen. So that was pretty good though. We got it going pretty good.
Yeah, no, from from my vantage point, when the game started, you're right. I could really hear because I was typing up some stuff, and I could really hear like the Red Bull section, but also from the press box, you hear a lot more of the KSU side,
Right.
and they're always chanting. So we were hearing
Hmm.
that, and then I was also hearing the Red Bull. So it's kind of back and forth. It kind of makes it a little bit, what would I say, kind of misleading sometimes. But
Right.
you're right. Once they
Like I was
scored
in
the
the
goal,
middle. Yeah.
once you scored the goal, I could hear 136. I could hear the far end of the river end, and then it started to go. But
There was good participation in when we were doing the corners and everything, and
oh,
everyone doing
excellent!
the clap 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 union.
That was
So
probably one of the best in terms of atmospheres with the corners this year that I've heard.
that was
Now,
excellent.
so that was really good to
Oh,
see.
and another thing to point out is the fact that we were missing several of our capos and Sons of Ben people because congratulations to Jared for
Yes,
getting married.
congratulations.
So yeah, there were definitely several people at weddings this weekend, so we were missing a few of the people to lead the chants.
But to their credit, those that stepped in did a very good
Yes, they
job.
did.
And so let's talk about some more things. Let's talk about the Tifo.
Yeah.
Bros did a phenomenal job. That was one outside maybe the one we did for LAFC. And what was the other one? The one they had with Brujo.
The Brujo one was, oh, so
Yeah,
good.
this is one of my top 3 for him this year. Like I love that Tifo. It was played on the Doom theme a little bit, and it was just really well done. Um, and then former Eagle,
Yes, 4th and 26, Freddie Mitchell.
wasn't he the guy that says, "I just want to thank my hands," or
Uh,
something like that? Didn't he say that? Like I forget the quote, but I mean I
yeah.
was in college when he was playing for the Eagles, and I just
Yeah.
remember that because that was like a whole thing around Philly.
Yeah,
If I
I was
got
in
that
college when
quote
he
wrong, please correct me because
this Kyle's
I
not an Eagles fan.
but no, I just remember that, and then remember we saw him, like, 4 years later at Phillies game when they were and he was, like, flexing to the camera.
Yeah, so, that was cool to see Freddie Mitchell
Yeah.
because that's a special memory for me too, because 'cause I'll never forget. I was going to college. I was at East Stroudsburg University, and I had been home for the weekend, and my dad was driving me back up to ESU. We were driving somewhere in the middle of nowhere on the way up and listening to Merrill Reese on the radio, listening to the Eagles game, and that's
Mhm.
when we heard McNabb throw that pass to Freddie Mitchell, 4th and 26. I mean, what a play that was. I mean, I just remember us going nuts in the car. So that was cool. So it was really cool though to see Freddie Mitchell. I love when we have other athletes from the major sports do that. And it seems to be a theme when Eagles come and bang the drum that they totally destroy the mallet.
They
And
really,
Freddie
really
did a
do.
great job banging that drum, just like Jason Kelsey did.
He did.
They need to get Jalen Hurts to come do it on like a really big game.
Well, LAFC and
I'm
Cincinnati
telling
are
you,
coming up, so
if he's free, that's a tough thing because they're going to be in season.
right.
But Saturday that could be doable.
Yeah, you never know.
I'd love to see like Jalen Hurts or Bryce Harper come do
I
that.
just like to see the Vegas boys.
Oh my gosh, Bryson Stott or Bryce
Can we
Harper.
just get them both? Okay, for that, I would be very excited because I do enjoy them both. Mainly, yes, because they're from Vegas, but I also respect both their games as ball
I
players.
mean, Bryce Harper, he is Philly. I mean, he gets it.
And so I will say this about Bryce. I have grown to love him as a player because of the way he has embraced Philly. When he was coming up, you always got the thing that he was a prima donna and
Hmm.
yada yada yada. And there was a lot of concerns of him coming out of the draft. I remember
Hmm.
that. And he would make these comments where you're just like, what? And then he went to the Washington Nationals. And even when I went and saw him play at Harrisburg, he was you could tell, had that prima donna look. Now, granted, he was
He was younger.
he
He
was
was
a prototype too coming out.
right.
And then, he goes to Washington, does his whole things. And then I just remember when Philly signed him, I'm like, ooh, this is not going to go well. But
I was psyched. I was
you were
psyched.
psyched. I'm like thinking about his attitude and like, how some players just aren't a right fit for Philadelphia. So I didn't think it was going to work too. It's great. He embraced the city,
Hmm.
all that.
He was all in.
And so shout out to him. I mean, that is
That's what we
awesome.
love. I mean,
And
you play like that, and Philly will love you.
so anyway, let's talk about a little bit about the game. You
Yes.
mentioned that, obviously no bueno,
No bueno was
no
no
good.
bueno.
And then we had no Jose.
Yeah, that I was worried going into this because not having our Venezuelans, they have been just part
And
they've
then
been huge in this team.
you got the news that Flock's probably gonna need surgery on that hernia that he's had all year, that
Yeah, I mean,
issue.
he might be done for the season. We don't know.
But to his credit, you gotta get it done because he has
Yeah.
not been the same player all year. You can
No.
just tell he's been dealing with that all year, and I know he gets a lot of slack from some of the fans.
He's got a lot of crap from people. Credit to Leon for playing through that. You know he wants to play and
And his
help the
stats
team,
don't
but
show up on he does everything that goes along with the advanced data that I love to track.
yeah, his playing doesn't always show up in the stats as
Nope.
much, but he doesn't deserve all the crap that he gets from people.
He really doesn't. I mean,
Sometimes it's deserved, but most of the time it's not.
we have criticized him a couple times this
Yeah,
year,
there's times where I
and
mean everybody has
yeah,
some
but
tough stuff.
again, he's also had some really good games. So hopefully, I would love to see him back, especially come the playoffs. You hope to get him back, especially if we have the lead late. He comes in,
Hmm.
locked down, in the midfield.
Yeah, so I
But
was
also credit, it's an opportunity now to Jack, to McGlynn to really show that he can take that next step and really start to attract even more European
yeah.
attention.
Yeah, because Jack McGlynn has been so good, and it's great to see more of what he can do and him really step into that role.
Hmm.
And and good for him, bad for us if we lose him. I mean, we'll also get, money for that, but it's always cool to see our homegrowns move on and take that next step. But when that day comes, and we know it's going to come inevitably someday, he's
Yeah.
going to go off to Europe or something. And that'll be bittersweet
Yeah. I
as it
mean,
goes.
it was interesting because, then they had Ale and Jack were playing kind of that double pivot again in the middle, and then you had the five in the back.
I think this is the best lineup we could have gone with
All things considered, yes.
for what we had to work with.
And right from the gate, and this has been a theme, I thought we'd look good going down. Of course, this has been also a theme. We were creating some really good
We
chances,
were.
and we just weren't finishing. And say what you want, that goal. Let's talk about the first goal. I mean, it was back and forth a little bit. You were putting some pressure on, and then all of a sudden they come down. Fernandez has that ball, low blocks it, and I was listening to Damien talk in the mixer at the end of the game. And he was like, yeah, it was disappointing to give that goal up, but he also was kind of like, that's something in soccer that happens, basically, meaning, ball deflects off him, goes right back to Fernandez. And
Hmm.
Blake's just sitting there like, there's nothing I can do about that. It was
Yeah,
such a
that
bang
wasn't
bang.
really on Andre. That was tough.
That was, if he clears that out, I still think we're scoreless there, and we're probably gonna end up having a clean sheet at the end of the night, but it is what it is.
I mean, aside from that, there Andre until like late in the game, he didn't have to make too
No,
many
no, we did a very good
moves.
job,
Yep.
I thought, of containing, for the most part, their attack. One thing I will say is after that goal, we didn't because we saw that a little bit in Toronto. They kind of started backing off a little bit. I thought they did a really good job of continuing to attack
Right.
Red Bull, which in a game like this, sometimes it can get back and forth a little bit because they're both, or just they start fouling.
We were getting pretty scrappy even in the
Yeah,
beginning of that
well,
game.
2 points. So after that goal, I get a text from Todd
Mhm.
right down from me. And he pulled up, and credit to him, and I'm sure he'll talk about it on his pocket. Red Bulls this year were 6-1-1 when they scored first. So
Hmm.
given how we're all going in this game going, oh my gosh, we don't have everybody, and they scored like right
Yeah.
like that.
And I was like, we got scored on the
I'm
first
like,
15 minutes.
I
Ugh.
remember texting a couple people going, yeah, this is not good. But again, to their
Yeah, you
credit,
texted me that too. You're like,
and then what would be a Red Bull game, and I tweeted this out, without a yellow card in 6 minutes and became on Sean Gillis, which would then come back to haunt Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other thoughts at the first half. I mean, Ua almost has that highlight goal where he back heels it.
Yeah.
And this is one thing I will say early on in this game, they were getting him involved early on, and you could tell the difference.
Yes.
Kai was making good. Jack was. Allie for, yes, is he starting to slow down? Yes. He's starting to slow down a little bit. Like last night again, he was father time and looking good. Again, if we can keep him fresh, keep him healthy, you can see why Jim loves to play him and why he talks about how when he's involved in the play, the Union attack is better because you were seeing that at times.
Jane and I were talking about this up in the stands last night and how they are just a lot better on the field when Allie's on there. For where he is in his career, he's playing great. And as someone near his age, I couldn't even imagine doing all that, what he does. But he brings that leadership. He helps direct them. It's just his presence is huge. And I thought he had a really good game. Sadly, we're not going to have him next game because he got yellow card accumulation. So he'll miss the next game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I actually got video of that when he got the yellow card. I actually happened to be filming that play.
So we're gonna be posting a couple of our videos and pictures on our social media pages. So make sure to check them out.
Yeah, Jane and I was saying to Jane, said I think the result might have been different had Allie been on the field at the MLS Cup.
Yeah, I think we all would agree on that. The weird thing was as that half went on, I remember turning to somebody next to me who was doing some stats as well. I forget his name, but I believe he does them for like the team or MLS. But he was telling me we were talking about cards because in the first half, I think once Sean got that double yellow and got the red and sent off the Red Bulls, they were almost at like 5 cards given out in the first, half. There was a lot. It was your typical Red Bull Union game.
We will say we were commenting up in our section that this ref is at least trying to get a hold of things a bit. We were talking about how like Colorado was nuts.
He was. And I tweeted out, in another world, I feel like the Union, and they were, because I was looking at some of the stats. I mean, we were 72% passing early on in the game in the final third, which we're usually at, like, on a bad day, we're like, you don't even want to know, we're like under 50%, but like this is like really high. So again, it goes back to creating chances early on, but we just weren't finishing. And as soon as I tweeted out, you didn't have a corner. And Glesnes on a nice little deflection, boom, knocks it right in.
Oh, and that was huge.
That was huge for him.
I was so happy for him when he did that. He needed that after the crappy game he had at Toronto, which was so uncharacteristic. And he was just coming off a great game at DC.
Right.
So I was really glad to see Jacob get that. And he just had an off game in Toronto. He looked so much better last night. Yeah, everyone has that happen. So I was really happy. And that was a really nice goal by him.
So funny thing about that. So when he scores that goal, I'm like kind of trying to get a picture of the crowd's reaction because you guys lit up. Like that stadium
that woke us
bananas. Up. And it was awesome to see. I see Andre Blake sprinting down. And I'm just like, there goes Andre,
Yep.
So credit to him, he does that, and I love that about our keeper. He gets involved.
Oh, he big time did when Damien scored too.
Oh yeah, he did. Fellow reggae boy.
Those reggae boys.
Yep. So so that was good, and then you went into half. Again, we had all this. Again, the pressure kept building. It wasn't like, okay, we scored, now we're going to sit back. And then Carranza almost has a goal.
Yeah, and oh my gosh,
now from your angle, I know we're at the river end. From my angle, I still don't know if he's off, but even when I'm watching the video, if he's off, it's really tight. It's not like one of those ones where you're like, when he first scored, I'm like, ooh, that looked close. And then I'm like, I guess they're not. And then when like they weren't celebrating, I'm like, I think he thinks he's off, and then I'm watching the video, I'm like, "So
So when I'm watching it live, of course, I was actually watching the official to see if the flag would go up, and I'm waiting for that. I'm holding my breath. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's cool. And then I was like, I'm like, I swear. And then of course, yeah, it got called back. But it was hard to tell live from our angle because we're looking straight on at it. And when they showed it up on the Jumbotron, we're like, yeah, he looks offsides from that, but even so, it was kind of close, I think. But I'm glad that he got redemption later, even though they almost called that one off too.
well,
That one, I mean, they checked that one again. I was like, are you kidding? The best was the quote from Matt DeGeorge, I believe it was on Twitter.
uh,
I loved his quote where he mentioned that Troy Lesane was down on the field in his father's suit, yelling vociferously at
he
the
was.
officials.
He was.
But like the exact quote, it was gold. Good job, Matt DeGeorge.
So, I mean, so we go into half, and I think we're all kind of up in the press box, kind of like, okay, we got a man up, and let's talk about that because you had mentioned that when it was 10 man, I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Okay, yeah. So everyone around us is celebrating when Neelis gets that second yellow leading
Right.
to the red card, and everyone's doing the no, hey, goodbye thing, and everyone's having fun. Meanwhile, and everyone's in the you effed up, and all that. Everyone's celebrating, except for some of us in the top end of 136. Drew and Eric, a bunch of those guys are like, no. They're like, they a lot of times this happens instead of yelling you effed up at them, they'll say we effed up. And
Yes, we do.
but they were like, no, we are not good with up a guy,
Yeah.
we are not up. And meanwhile, I'm like, no, we've also been good in this situation too. Don't forget that. And then Rich runs behind me, he's like, Posidelphia, and we're
Yeah.
like, no, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. And I'm like, I'm going with Rich on this. So I was trying to be positive about that because I have seen us have good games too, including early in the season. I felt like we were getting that opportunity a bunch. It seemed like there were a lot of red cards in some of those early season games, like
There were.
against the other team. And of course we had, one in there too, but it
The funny thing for
yeah.
me was when that red card goes up, looking like there's like probably like at least 15 people would have like big cutouts of red cards like going up.
Yes.
But then like you had those Deadpool
Yeah.
cutout and like people were just lifting those up too.
I hope someone got a picture of that because
yeah, it was a pretty funny picture because you see people just like all these like red cards bouncing around the room, right? So that was a
fun.
really close experience. I mean, you go into half and it's like you're a little we were disappointed. I was at
We
least
thought we were going to be going
and
up
up.
2-1, but
So then they came out at half, and to Red Bull's credit, and I had tweeted this, I was like, okay, we were like 5 minutes in, and Red Bull's almost had 2 goals.
yeah.
They came out, and to their credit, they came out firing even 10 man down, and I'm like, okay, we kind of gotta wake up here. And
Yeah, we were definitely yelling things from 136 about that.
yeah, they were definitely kind of almost caught flat-footed, and that could have really spelled disaster for the Union. But to their credit, again, another set piece goal comes down, and
We had an awesome view of that where we were.
yeah, let's talk about that. What was the atmosphere like?
Oh my goodness. So that such a nice kick by Kai, and Damian Lowe just heads that thing in beautifully. I
He
mean, he
really
goes
did.
Superman on that. And that was beautiful. I had, like I said, just a great view of that where we were, and it was incredible. That's all I have to say.
I mean, for me,
We were
that
just going
that
nuts.
I believe now it's his third header of the season, goal
Yeah.
of the
That's
season.
what we need more of. That's what, because
Yeah.
how many times have we had a corner where it doesn't get past their first defender? It
No.
just gets hit back.
And to Kai's credit, he had 3 good balls tonight.
Yeah, Kai had 3
3
assists tonight.
And there again, when he gets involved in play and gets good crosses, good plays into the box, good things happen. We'll talk about that in a little
Yeah.
bit.
Kai was robbed, by the way. Let me just insert this now. Okay. MLS, you have Messi. I know he's the GOAT and whatever, but Messi only had 2 assists last night. Kai had 3, yet Messi is a candidate for player of the match day. We all know who's going to end up winning that because of all the little fanboys and fangirls of Messi. Okay. That is my rant. Also, I voted for Cucho because out of the choices, he deserved it the most.
He did.
So if he doesn't get player of the match day and Messi does for his 2 assists, that's bull. And
is it Red Bull?
I keep
So,
it peachy here, but that's my thoughts.
So, no, I agree with you on that.
But yes, that's my rant.
I mean, and then again, going back to, Lowe really needed that because
He did, and you know why he was out a lot lately too. He had
Jim
death
talked
in the
about
family. Yeah,
Jim talked about that after the game. He had he went into it. And I'm not going to go into specifics, but Jim basically said he had a family situation. So,
yeah.
The fact that he was able to come back, and contribute tonight when called on, I mean, that's huge. And he was, when we were in the mixer there, he was so happy. You could see
my
the
gosh,
joy
yeah.
on his face. He gives great little sound bites and clips. And
I know Jimmy posted a really good picture and quote
check
with
that
him.
one out because it was really good. Just a little sound bites that he was giving us. And
Damian loves being in Philly.
he really does.
And he really fits in.
He really, really does. And does he have some stinker games? Does he get a little reckless? Does he have games where he's just not there? Yeah, he does.
He does. I will say this though. I love his just fire that he brings to it. I love how he has embraced it and how he does give his all.
Yes. And then to the credit, so Union go up and they don't really take off the gas pedal.
Yeah, we kept it going all the way till the end. We had that gas pedal the whole
and then
time.
Carranza finally gets redemption.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, chef's kiss. What a goal that was.
Okay, so from my vantage point where I was sitting in the press box, normally I'm either up front on the far right if you're looking in the press box, or I'm on the top left. I was kind of right in the middle, so I had a pillar. So I was joking with some people at the end. I saw the ball go in, and I see kind of him kick the ball, and that's it. And
really?
I
had a great view of it. Yeah,
I see everybody, the whole stadium just
that's right in front of me there. Yeah,
explode. I'm like, oh, and then I kind of see them celebrating, and then I kind of look up and watch the goal. And
Kai sends it over, and Jillian just one times it. Bam, into
right
the goal.
in. But it was the kind of goal like, yeah, I know Julian skies him sometimes, but when he puts a ball
when he
on,
puts in like that one right there, as soon as he hit that, I'm like, that should be a candidate for goal of the week.
Well, that was my whole thing too.
Yeah.
And I kind of tweeted out like, we want to make this a goal of the week because that was just a banger right
there. It was perfectly sent him, and the way he hit that, I mean, that was skill.
So then you're up, place is rocking. I felt at times though when they were up, then the ref was kind of started that second half. He was trying to keep control of the game. Did you feel?
There were times where he like let them play.
Yeah,
it was kind of even on both sides of that, and I was like, okay.
But there was a couple times where I'm like, what are you doing? Like he was just like long drawn out, like
yeah. The one that really aggravated me was when Daniel Gazdag got completely taken out.
Yes.
And nothing came of it.
There was a couple plays, but I mean, again, there was a couple plays on our end that could have gone Red Bull's way that,
For sure.
So, I mean, he did a good job. There was just a couple times where I'm like, what? Is he losing this game? And then he'd get back. He did a very good job.
I thought overall, yeah, it wasn't bad. In fact, I thought he did a pretty decent job of trying to keep control of that game because we all know how that game could have really gotten. And the fact that Bueno and Martinez were not on the field, and just think how that could have gone too.
Well, let's talk about that because we did have two scary moments. Luckily Jim confirmed they're both okay. First was Mikel gets the ball down the, I guess it would be right side. He was
going on a run there. Yeah,
he was on a run, and he's just
gonna pull it
and
up.
I like, he's literally running right in front of me, and I saw it. And the first thing I see when I say that, I heard some people going hamstring. I'm like, that's his ankle.
Yeah.
and looked like he just caught something on a cleat and like maybe it was like the sprinkler. But then he was kind of just like walking. I'm like, oh no. And then he's kind of
Yeah, because
just
I'm there like, oh, no, no, no.
stretching out his ankle. I'm like, ooh, I think he just kind of sprained it
Yeah.
or like stressed it a little bit.
Yeah, initially, I was, like, really
I
worried.
was too, but then, he kind of started walking and you could tell then from then on when he was making those runs, he kind of just didn't have that one step that he had earlier in the game. Now he was also probably tired too, but that
Mhm.
he was definitely dealing with that. And then of course, Gazdag scores
Yeah, he scored
his first goal
from
from
open play.
open play. Now you taking out League's Cup because he scored
Right.
one there. He hadn't scored in league competition since May against New England from a open play
Mhm.
non PK. So
It was nice to see him
it
get one there because
it
he's
was
really been playing well. I
yeah.
mean, he sets up a lot of things.
And it was a nice goal too. And it
Mhm.
just like when he goes scores and hits it, and now all of a sudden you see him kind of lean over and like grab his knee. You're like, oh no, here we go.
Yeah, and in the presser, Jim mentioned that basically Danny gets kicked quite a bit, and he doesn't get, the
Yeah,
protection that from the refs that other number 10s in the league get. I
right.
thought that quote was very good.
Yeah,
That
you
little
you
jab he gave there.
you could yeah, that was definitely a
Mhm.
spicy Jim there.
I love Spicy Jim.
But, no, when we watched the replay of the kick, his knee, you could kinda see it was like, okay, it didn't look like something totally collapsed, like you see, like,
Yeah.
in NFL or, like, some crazy place, so you're like, "Okay, did he just re-aggravate?" Which looked like it did when he was able to walk off on his own, he felt better.
Right. But it
So
was good that he went out of precaution. Plus, we were up 4-1 at that point, and it was late in the game.
and then, hey, guess what? We got to see Ty finally.
Yeah, so Ty came in around, yeah, the 72nd minute. He
Yep,
came in for Mikhail Ua.
yep.
And is he in his top form yet? No, but I'll tell you what, I liked what I saw.
I
He's
mean
got speed.
what I like is his pressing.
Yes.
He's very good pressing. There were times where, you could tell he was still rusty, but the talent's there. The thing I really liked about it, again, was his pressing.
Mhm.
He's active, and I think he's gonna be a very good contributor once he gets into form, gets to understanding team. He missed a lot of passes. I did
Oh,
know.
there was one opportunity. I was like, "Oh, could we get could be our first tie goal," and then it wasn't. He got his first yellow card with us, but
And then also, I think it was Rafa had a ball, and like
yeah, and it
Ty's
was good
like,
to see Rafanel get in.
yeah, and he did
That
okay.
was his first MLS time. I didn't realize because I know he got to come in at the end of it was an Open Cup game.
Yeah,
It was in Minnesota, I believe,
but
but it was good to see Rafa get in, and I liked what I saw with him too.
yeah,
He's been
yeah.
playing so well for you too. It's good to see him get that chance.
Yeah, and again, with the amount of games this year, starting to get some of these
Mhm.
guys that have been playing well, either U2 or when they gotten opportunities, it's going to benefit the team moving forward, obviously. But yeah, he had this ball and like Ty's over there like jumping up and down
Mhm.
like I'm wide open. I was like, again, first time playing, together. It just in competition, things happen, but
Yeah.
I really am I'm hopeful for what Ty can bring. So,
Yeah,
well,
definitely very positive.
the one other thing I really like is he walks around the field, shakes everybody in the opponent's hand after the game. I
Yeah.
was noticing that. I noticed he did that against was Monterey he got in, right? Yeah, right at the
Yeah.
yes, right and
Yes.
like walked on the field. He was doing it then. So I do like he kind of
He's got like quite the fan club there too. You know,
yeah,
there's all the
yeah.
people with like the Israel flag and stuff.
Yeah, it was really it's really interesting because I mean, players go around, high five, and
Yeah.
congratulate each other on a game and talk. But
Yeah.
he like just kind of walks around and shakes everybody's hand. I'm like,
I
oh,
love that. I love that. He's a
I
good
like
sport.
that. I like
I
that.
mean, I love seeing that. And related to that, Quinn Sullivan always goes around at the end of the game and signs stuff
Yeah,
for kids and everything goes around. And I love that. And he does that all the time. And I mean, Jacob Glessness does that a lot too. Last night he was going around. He's done that a few times where he'll go around and sign things. So
yeah, it was good to see.
but yeah, as a coach, I love all the good sportsmanship, and I like, seeing all of that. So, but I did not notice that about Ty, so I'm glad you brought that up because I know how I missed that, but that was awesome.
So it's just something just weird. I was just watching, kind of like as I was packing up to head down to the press room. I was just kind of noticing that. Um, overall, after that stinker we had in on Wednesday, Union bounced back.
Let's
Uh,
talk about Andre Blake quick
we
here too.
will.
Yeah.
And so Union bounced back 4-1
Yeah.
against Red Bull, and keep our keep ourselves towards the top of the table in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, we're in fourth currently in the Eastern
Yeah,
Conference.
uh,
But we're right behind second and third, so
that whole
it's like
side
a
of the
point.
conference is tightening up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Blake didn't have a lot of chances, but that second half there towards the end had a couple nice saves.
Yeah, he did have some really nice saves at the end there. The one where he went up and like kind of caught it and like brought down, he was really careful to not let it go over the
Yeah,
line when he came
and
down.
then he
That
had
was a
that
tough
one
one.
on that kind of, I forget who it was coming in on the side kick, and he knocked it out wide.
Yeah, yeah.
There
So
was a couple nice little plays there. He didn't have a lot of action overall in the night. I mean, he had a couple saves here and there. He was challenged a couple times. That goal was kind of just a
it was the
weird.
one that he got scored on was tough because when when that was getting sent in, he kind of dove like if Damien wasn't going to get it, and
Yeah,
it was just a really unfortunate
yeah,
deflection back. So then got knocked in. So there wasn't much Andre could do because he was already like
no.
down. He really couldn't have done anything there.
So I mean, he had a good night in that all things going. Yes, he didn't get the clean sheet like you'd like, but I mean, 4-1 against your rivals, a good night, and he did. But
Yes.
I mean, who stood out for me? Obviously, Kai, that goes without saying.
Mhm.
He had an amazing game. Um, I really liked what I saw from the front three. And they got
Yes, and we
involved,
had said they need to come out and have a really good
and
game,
they did.
especially with us not having you know, our midfield.
And I really liked what I saw from Jack and Ally. I thought they both did really good job
Yeah.
overall. I mean, playing as double pivot, I thought that was a good. And Jim mentioned a little bit about that in the press conference. He was pleased with that. And overall, it was a
It
good
was a
game.
good team win.
It really was. I mean, there was so many players. I think I had somebody else.
Well, when we were
No,
picking player of the match day, or not player of the match, player of the game though, to bang the drum at the end, I'm thinking, oh, well, that's a toss up.
I
Could be
mean,
a few people. Then it ended up being Damien, by the way, which was good. I thought Damien had a great game. So
yeah,
aside from that deflection that we got scored on, other than that, I thought, yeah, it's great. It was great to see him bang the drum. You could tell it meant a lot to him to get to
mhm,
do that too, with things that he's been through too. So
absolutely.
yeah, so I was happy for him.
And then, after the game, went to the press box, presser, and, asked Jim some questions. One of the interesting things that stood out is Jim on Friday had mentioned that you need to take better shots selection. We're taking a lot of shots outside the box, and he kind of mentioned, we always yell shoot, but that the best are inside the 18. And
Hmm.
I guess they heard that message loud and clear because that
They did.
last night out of 11 shots, um, only one was outside the box, and we put 6 on target. And when we put
Hmm.
when we have 60% of shots inside the box on target, good things are gonna happen with this
Sure.
team, the way they can finish from good plays like that. So that was really encouraging to see. Obviously, Mikel, Jack, Ali, I thought I really liked how Mikel really early on, they got him involved, and I felt that set the tone for everybody else as
That was huge.
he was being effective. But yeah, and then good to see Danny and Julian be able to contribute and then get your center backs involved, and that's a winning formula. I mean, you got 2 center backs now this year with 2 goals. So that's good to see more and more players contributing on goals. It's just not the top 3. So
Exactly.
so good win. Now the Union get a break, and that's
Yes.
important. I
They
mean,
played so many games.
obviously so many, some of them like Bueno and Jose are gonna go for Venezuela. Um, I did hear that, and I think it was Joe Tansey posted this morning, that Daniel will not be going with Hungary. He is gonna stay back, just to rest.
That's I'm Yeah,
I'm
I'm
kinda
good with that.
I'm good with that too, give him some rest,
Yeah,
and
I know.
then
Andre and Damien are going with Jamaica. So Corey Burke got the call up for that too. And speaking of Corey Burke, I did see he was out with hip. He has like a hip thing going on. I did look that up.
and
It was on the Red Bull
shout
report.
and shout out to Red Bull for jinxing it with the
Yeah, so
picture of Corey Burke in front of the Rocky statue.
well, in front he was on like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
art
yeah.
museum steps
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
and
right, yeah.
not in the statue, but they had Corey Burke. Yeah, New York Red Bulls had like wake up, it's game day, and it's Corey Burke on top of the art museum steps, and we're like, oh, you just did that. I mean, you may as well just thrown one of your jerseys over the Rocky statue. And I thought it was funny. And then I'm in the river in there, and I'm on Instagram before the game starts, and I'm like, I saw Corey Burke's Instagram story, and it's him watching the game at
Yeah.
home or whatever. I'm like, well, that explains where Corey is. So, and yeah, I mean, listen, I love Corey Burke, I do, but I also sad when he took the money and went to a rival, but
And playing time, which he's not even
not
playing.
even getting the playing time that he wanted
Yeah.
anyway. So, that's a shame.
So, and then after the presser, we kinda hung around a little bit.
Yeah. So they had the unified team
Yeah.
playing from the union and from Red Bull. So these are people with disabilities.
Yep.
And I loved how they presented all of this. So they got to they did like the social media and everything
It
for
was
it. They did like
awesome.
the starting lineup on there, like they do for the first team. They recognized all of them. I liked how Nate Harriel and Jeremy Raffanello stuck around and they were hanging out with them the whole time
Yep.
and over with the team. So that was really fun. So we watched some of that
Mhm.
and we had a bunch of the Sons of Ben over there watching and they were doing the chants and doing the drum and making it a really cool experience. So I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it was a lot of fun, and, I enjoy it. I know it was you, me, Todd just sitting there chatting and watching this, and it's just good to see the union doing that for the community, giving back, and giving these kids some awesome opportunities, and I hope this is something that they continue to do because, it's really good to see.
That just got to be a great experience for
Oh,
those kids.
I can't even imagine. I mean, it's so awesome.
Hmm.
And there are a lot of people stuck around to watch.
Yeah,
I
that was
mean, that
great.
was cool. So,
And like Kevin Casey was announcing it and
I
everything still
know.
too. So
So
very cool.
it was just an awesome experience for those kids, and yeah, awesome experience for us. So, just a programming note, probably won't have any guests on this week. I'm in Dallas at a coaches convention.
I made him promise to troll the Cowboys fans down there for
I
me,
I will, and
even
then
though he's a Dolphins fan.
also,
But Birds.
also, I'm probably gonna go check out the Soccer Hall of Fame in FC Dallas's stadium, so, stay tuned for maybe some video on that. Cross your fingers, maybe I can even try to get in this time, unlike Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not, but we're gonna try. And just maybe see some sights and sounds around this stadium area. So, but yeah, we'll be back then for the Cincinnati game, which is gonna be a big one, obviously,
Yes, we have to bring it for that. I mean,
and it's gonna
no
be
question.
an exciting evening for the kids and
Yes,
Kick Childhood Cancer Night.
absolutely.
And we might be doing some fun things for that. Fingers crossed. Stay tuned. We might we're trying to plan some stuff for that.
Right, we are.
So keep an eye out. But that's all for today.